She only wanted to help. A crying boy sat on the cold steps outside the bank, shivering, shoeless, with tear-stained cheeks. No one else stopped, but she did. She gave him food, a coat, a moment of warmth. But hours later, police blocked her door. She had no idea why. What they told her next shattered everything she thought she knew. Because that boy, he was not lost. He was planted. It was supposed to be a routine lunch break. Just 10 quiet minutes between bank shifts. Olivia stepped out with her coffee and sandwich, slipping onto the bench near the fountain plaza. That was when she saw him. A little boy, maybe 7, curled up on the steps outside the main bank entrance. No coat, no shoes, cheeks red from the cold. His small fingers clutched an empty paper cup that barely stayed upright in the breeze. Dozens passed him without a glance. Businessmen, bank clients, a security guard even walked around him like he was a puddle. But Olivia stopped. She walked over slowly, unsure of what to say. "Are you all right?" The boy did not look up, but he shook his head just once. "Where's your family?" she asked gently. He whispered, "They left." Something in Olivia's chest cracked. Without thinking, she pulled off her scarf and knelt down, wrapping it around his shoulders. Then she opened her sandwich bag and handed it to him. He blinked up at her, startled. "You don't even know me." "You do not have to know someone to be kind," she said softly. He took it slowly, like he had never been given something without a price. Then he whispered, "Thank you, miss." Olivia stood there a few more minutes, heart twisting. She wanted to take him somewhere safe, but before she could ask, a woman in a sharp gray coat stepped out of the bank and glanced their way. The boy froze. Then, without a word, he jumped up and ran fast. "Wait!" Olivia called after him, but he was already down the street, turning the corner and vanishing into the maze of city blocks. That should have been the end of it. Just a quiet moment of compassion. A fleeting act no one would remember. But 3 hours later, her world split open. She had just returned to her small apartment and was warming leftover soup when a pounding knock rattled her front door. She opened it to find 2 uniformed police officers. Their expressions were serious. One held a folder. "Olivia Harewell?" She nodded slowly. "We need to speak with you. Now." Her stomach dropped. "Is this about the boy? I only gave him food, I swear." The officer exchanged a glance with his partner. "This is not about what you gave. It is about what you were chosen for." I don't understand." He handed her the folder. Inside was a photo. The boy. But this time, he was in a clean shirt, standing beside a man in a pressed suit, a billionaire Olivia recognized from the financial news. And across the bottom of the page, stamped in red, were 3 words that made her knees buckle. Classified compassion test. Olivia stared at the photo like it was some kind of cruel trick. The boy, the same boy she had wrapped in her scarf and fed, now stood beside one of the most powerful men in the country. His clothes were spotless, his posture upright, his eyes clearer. But it was him. She knew that face. And stamped beneath the image, classified compassion test. "What is this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The taller officer spoke gently. "That boy's name is Benjamin, though on the streets he uses many names. He is part of an ongoing private operation, funded by a powerful entity. That entity requested his identity be kept confidential until the test was complete." "What test?" Olivia asked, her heart pounding. It is called the Humanity Verification Program. Select individuals are unknowingly placed in situations involving carefully monitored crisis actors, children, elderly, disabled, all observed by hidden cameras. Their goal? To measure if basic human compassion still exists in people with no reward, no audience, no pressure, just choice. Olivia could not breathe. So, he was never lost. No, but his past is very real. He once was homeless. That boy has seen things no child should, but he was adopted by a man who also came from nothing, and who now has more money than most nations. The second officer added, "Your name was flagged. You passed." "Passed what?" Olivia asked. The taller officer smiled slightly. "A test that most fail. You stopped. You gave. You wrapped him in warmth and didn't ask what you'd get in return." Olivia felt dizzy. But why would anyone go through all this trouble? And then another knock. Olivia turned as a man in a navy blue suit stepped into the hallway. He was tall, well-built, with silver at his temples, and eyes that studied her not like an investigator, but like someone searching for something lost. She recognized him instantly. From the business magazine covers, from her loan officer's desk calendar. Nathan Vale, billionaire investor, philanthropist, survivor of the foster system, and, apparently, the one behind all of this. He spoke before she could. "I know this is overwhelming, but Benjamin was me once." "You?" "I sat on those same steps when I was 7. I cried there for hours. People passed. No one helped. Not even one. Until today, when you fed a boy with no shoes and gave him warmth without expecting anything." I didn't know who he was," Olivia whispered. "That is the point. You did not need to know." He paused, then handed her a sealed envelope. "I want to offer you something." Olivia hesitated, opening the envelope. Inside was a formal job contract. Not from her bank. From the Vale Foundation. Position? Compassion Outreach Director. Salary? 6 figures. Location? Anywhere she chose. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. "Why me?" Nathan smiled gently. "Because in a world built on transactions, you remembered what it means to simply care." Behind him, Benjamin, clean, smiling, peeked around the corner. His eyes lit up. "She remembered my name," he whispered. Olivia wiped her eyes, speechless. But deep down, a new question bloomed. Why her? Why now? Was this really a reward, or the beginning of something much deeper?
Olivia sat motionless on her couch, the envelope still in her lap. The warmth of Nathan Vale's offer still lingered in the air, but something inside her would not let her relax. This was not a job. It felt like a crossroads. Nathan stood quietly by the window, Benjamin beside him, leaning into his side with a comfort that only came from real love, real healing. "You are not offering me a job," Olivia said softly. Nathan turned. "No, I am offering you a choice." She looked up at him. "Why me? There are thousands of people out there who would have passed this test. Why place Benjamin in my path?" Nathan stepped forward. "Because we have been watching you for a long time." Her breath caught. "Excuse me?" "In a not sinister way," he added gently. "You work in a bank where numbers are everything. But we noticed something else. You've quietly paid off other people's overdrafts. You've slipped cash into strangers' envelopes. You once stayed late for 6 weeks straight to help an elderly woman understand her retirement account. I never told anyone about that, she whispered. You didn't have to. We already knew. He paused, then said, Benjamin did not just choose you randomly today. He knew who he was looking for. He wanted you to be the one. Benjamin stepped forward, shyly holding a folded piece of paper. Olivia took it and slowly opened it. A drawing. Stick figures. A woman handing a sandwich to a little boy. Above them, a single word written in shaky block letters. Home. Her hands trembled. He drew this? He has drawn it every night since he came to me, but never finished it until today. Tears welled in her eyes. You see, I was searching for someone to lead the next chapter of the Veil Foundation. Not an executive, not a name, a soul. Someone who remembered what it was like to be overlooked and chose to see. Olivia blinked through her tears. But I am not anyone special. That is exactly why you are, Nathan replied. She looked down at Benjamin again. He was smiling now, open, hopeful, changed. And suddenly, something in her heart cracked open. All the years she had spent surviving paycheck to paycheck, holding doors open for others, putting kindness into the world that never seemed to notice, it had not gone unseen. But just as she was about to speak, Nathan's phone buzzed. He checked it. His face grew serious. What is it? Olivia asked. Nathan looked up, his voice tight. One of the other children is missing. Benjamin's smile faded instantly. No, he whispered. Not her. Who? Olivia asked. Nathan looked directly at her. Her name is Jolia. She was part of the same test, and she has not been heard from in 3 days. The warmth in the room turned cold. Olivia's instincts returned. What do you need me to do? Nathan looked her in the eye. I need you to come with me. This was never just about passing a test. It was about becoming the person who could save someone before it is too late. Olivia looked down at Benjamin's drawing one last time. Then, without hesitation, she stood. They moved fast. Within an hour, Olivia found herself riding in the back of a black SUV beside Nathan Vale and little Benjamin. Her bank uniform still clung to her, but she felt like a different person now, pulled from her ordinary life into something far bigger than she had ever imagined. She went missing after her last test, Nathan said, scrolling through security footage on his tablet. Jolia was placed outside a courthouse. She had to survive 2 days with no help, but someone followed her. Olivia's heart tightened. She is just a child. Nathan nodded. A brilliant one. She was rescued from a trafficking ring when she was 6. She knows how to read danger. That is why I trusted her. And now she may be in real trouble. Benjamin sat silently beside Olivia, holding her hand. I saw her last week. She was scared. She said if she didn't get any help, she would disappear again, like before. They arrived at an abandoned shopping center, the last place Jolia had been seen. Olivia stepped out, scanning the area. Nathan stayed back, letting Olivia lead. This was her test now. Why here? Olivia asked. Benjamin pointed. She told me she hides in places no one wants to look. They followed him through broken glass and cracked tiles, past old store signs and dead neon. Then Olivia saw it, a flash of color, a pink scarf tied to a broken display case. She ran. Inside, behind a row of dusty mannequins, was Jolia, curled up, shivering, but alive. Jolia! Olivia dropped to her knees. The girl flinched, then opened her eyes. You're not security, she whispered. No,
I am just someone who remembers what it feels like to be alone." Julia stared at her, then lunged into her arms, sobbing. Nathan appeared moments later, eyes shining. "You found her," he said. "I did not find her. She let herself be found." Back at headquarters, Julia sat safe, eating warm food beside Benjamin. Olivia stood with Nathan, watching them. "I never imagined this would be my life," she whispered. Nathan smiled. "That is what happens when you lead with kindness. Doors open that you never knew existed." He handed her a new file. "What is this?" "Your first official assignment. Director of Field Compassion. You will design and lead every outreach test from now on, and train others like you." Olivia opened it. Inside was a photo of a child, but this time she was the one holding the pen. 1 month later, a little boy sat crying outside another building. A woman passed, then a man, then a family. But then, someone stopped. A stranger knelt down, shared a sandwich, wrapped the boy in a warm scarf, and far away in a small room lined with monitors, Olivia smiled, because the world could still change, one kind act at a time.